Hi there, it's Ian here, and you're watching Grumpy Opinions, the show where I'm going to tell you all about what I think of films, TV shows, games, and life in general. Let's get on with the show.
The Mandalorian is a Star Wars show that up until now has been very much a Western first, with some samurai show influences, but this week it flips it absolutely on its head. In Chapter 13, The Jedi, this week Mandy and Bubba yudz finally arrive on the planet that Starbuck said they would find a Jedi. And when he gets there, he meets like a weird Sith lady and hicks off aliens. And then they say that they need a guy like him to wipe out a bad Jedi called Ahsoka, and she's out in the woods giving them a bunch of trouble. A Jedi, you say? No problem. So Mandy wanders off and immediately gets into a fight with her. But he's like, hold on, I just want to talk. And she's all like, oh, look at cute baby Yoda. And then does like a psychic force messenger chat with Bubba yudz. Is like, oh yeah, by the way, his name's like Grogu. And everybody in the audience is like, what now? Anyway, they make a plan to put a bad end to the nasties who run like the evil base, because clearly they're bad and nasty and evil. And it goes much as you'd expect, because Ahsoka tells them that she killed the Mandalorian assassin they sent, and then wipes out almost all of the identikit faceless ugly bad guys. All the usual things the show does so well to make action scenes very, very exciting. And of course Mandy's just waiting to pop in, and he does a bit of a shoot on the people she missed, and then while she's off having a big fight with the Sith lady, he has a wee to do with Hicks, and the bad guys all lose, obviously. After which the villagers all cheer and everybody drinks lemonade. The end. Only not quite, because Ahsoka is like, yeah, by the way, I'm not training your wee green booger monster, he's your problem, since he's already decided that you're his mum or something. So you're going to have to go off to the weird old Jedi temple of somewhere or other in such and such a place. And Mandy's like, yeah, that sounds about right. And Ahsoka walks away, presumably into a healthy career in her own spin-off show. So what did I think? Well, you can probably tell that I had a few issues from this week just from the recap, but in the interest of being fair, let's talk about the good stuff. To begin with, holy heck, they really went to town on this, making it look really, really good and samurai. I mean, this is proper like Kurosawa style stuff, and I thought that episode of Westworld did quite well with that, but this really takes the cake while still making it Star Warsy. And also, I really like Rosario Dawson. It was really nice to see her doing something decent, even if it's just a riff on her I'm a shouty badass kind of thing that she did in films like Sin City. And it was also really nice to see Michael Biehn. Yeah, I mean, apart from, damn, he really looks old these days. But, I mean, I suppose that's what happens if most of your most famous roles were all done back when you were probably about mid to late 30s, and they're so iconic that it's what everybody thinks about it, and those films are so old now that, yeah, sure, you're a much older man. And also there was a nice little nod to Aliens with him having a shotgun, which was kind of cute, even if it makes very little sense that it's in the future with a blaster gun, so why does it have to be pump action? Yeah, TV show. And, I mean, as to Ahsoka herself, I mean, yeah, apparently she's a really big noise in the Clone War cartoon TV show, but I haven't actually seen that, so it didn't mean anything to me. And she seemed okay, if maybe a bit of an arsey character who it was a bit difficult for me to get engaged with just with this one episode, but yeah. But see, here's the thing. Am I actually supposed to care about any of these characters, about anything that goes on in the show? Because I'm rapidly losing interest with it, not because it's dropped in quality or anything, because it hasn't, it still looks amazing. But because even though it's always been up and down, it doesn't feel like the show's actually going anywhere. Now, I know this is an episodic show, I've mentioned this before many times, and I know it's going for that kind of that littlest hobo, Incredible Hulk sort of kung fu style of show where we know that eventually Mandy and Grogu are just going to end up hanging up together because that's how it goes. And the trouble is, these shows where people walk the earth, usually are about folk who have very little or nothing or are trying to quietly go about their lives in secret, and something happens and they have to keep leaving wherever it is they go.
Goodbye. Goodbye, David. And I hope you find your safe place.
And we only had one episode like that in the entire show. Everything else since then is just, been him going, oh, I have to fly somewhere, and then there being some daft reason why his ship broke, or he had to stop somewhere, or something else happened. He needed to buy milk and eggs from the local shop or something, and then they get embroiled in a side quest. And it's getting predictable and it's getting tedious. And I think part of the problem here is the show knows it has to keep this going, and that might work for a lot of people. It just doesn't work for me because I'm finding it dull and boring. And on a more specific note, again, ugly bad guys die, no one cares, and our Jedi is quite happy to just murder anybody. Now, I don't remember the Jedis just straight up murdering people all the time. That wasn't what they were all about. But at the end of this, she arrives ostensibly to say, did you decide on what I offered at the beginning of the episode? But she does it by jumping up on a wall and killing a whole bunch of people first. I mean, she's meant to be the good guy. And also, I get that the death of Michael Biehn at the end of this episode was supposed to be a bit like that whole bit from Yojimbo and Fistful of Dollars, and it reminded me most of like Last Man Standing, which is the Bruce Willis remake of the same story, where Christopher Walken decides at the end that he's going to walk away and then doesn't, and of course the guy shoots him, and it's exactly the same thing. But it still felt kind of unnecessary to just kill off that character. But yeah, anyway, I mean, I wasn't a fan this week, so maybe better luck next time, show. And until then, that's really all I've got to say at this point. Yeah, these have been my grumpy opinions. Get better. Be a better show. Please. And a special thanks to everybody listening, and especially my patrons, and most especially to Michelle Forbes and Judith Coloma, my top tier patrons. Thank you, everybody. Everybody stay safe. Cheerio.